294 days behind bars in Russia, Brittney Griner is on her way back to America, specifically San Antonio.
All eyes are on JBSA Lackland, where Griner is expected to land sometime this evening. The WNBA star has been jailed in Russia since February, when she was arrested on drug charges after airport officials found cannabis oil in her luggage.
She was sentenced to 9 years of hard labor, but after what President Joe Biden called painstaking, intense negotiations, Griner is finally free. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for News 4 San Antonio at 5. I'm Robert Price.
And I'm Simone D'Alba. We are bringing you team coverage of Griner's return to the U.S. Jordan Elder will have the latest from Kelly Field, and Zach Hedrick will have reaction from the sports community.
And we do kick off our team coverage tonight from Kelly Field, where Griner is expected to land this evening. News 4 San Antonio's Jordan Elder is there. Jordan.
That's right. Griner is expected to land here shortly. However, this prisoner swap has started a firestorm in the political world, especially because former Marine Paul Whelan is still in a Russian prison. However, U.S. officials say that this wasn't an either-or decision. It was either Griner or nothing.
She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home.
President Joe Biden announcing Thursday that WNBA star Brittney Griner is coming home after being detained in Russia for nearly 300 days.
Today, my family is whole.
But as some celebrate, others are raising questions about former Marine Paul Whelan, who Russia convicted on charges of espionage 2 years ago. He's still in Russian prison, sentenced to 16 years.
And so they're two totally different cases.
Political expert Jon Taylor says Russia considers espionage charges much more serious than Griner's drug charges.
We're talking about a situation where the Russians and the United States are barely on speaking terms because of the Ukraine war. And so I think we're actually quite fortunate that they got Brittney Griner back, for goodness sake.
He says this furthers hope that Whelan will one day return home. Biden says his administration is still working on it.
This was not a choice of which American to bring home. Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittney's. And while we have not yet succeeded in securing Paul's release, we are not giving up.
Others are criticizing the swap itself. Griner released in exchange for arms dealer Victor Bout, a Russian arms dealer referred to as the Merchant of Death.
Well, set politics aside, she's an American. And we got an American home from a very hostile country. And we'll continue to work on others who are in hostile countries and to try to get them home too.
Brittney Griner and Mark Swedan, who is held in China, are among 60 Americans who are held hostage or wrongfully detained. That's according to the James W. Foley Foundation, which advocates for the freedom of Americans imprisoned abroad. But for the families, it's a heart-wrenching wait.
But he's been there all this time. It was 10 years, November 13th. And he had said, Mama, I'm not going to do one more day after November 13th. I can't take it anymore.
For 10 long years, Catherine Swedan has sat down with the media to draw attention to the plight of her son, Mark Swedan. In 2012, he was arrested in China on what human rights advocates call flimsy drug charges. He was tried in 2013 and in 2019 sentenced to death.
The guards broke his hands 5 to 7 times. He has a dislocated knee. He has periodontal disease that causes holes in his mouth. And he bleeds every day.
Even without the death sentence, Chinese prisons are notorious for human rights abuses like beatings and force feedings. His mother hasn't spoken to him since 2018, but she has been in contact with the State Department. Today's news of Brittney Griner's release.
Moments ago, standing together with her wife Sherelle in the Oval Office, I spoke with Brittney Griner. She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home.
Is pushing families of other prisoners like Paul Whelan, who is held in Russia, to ask, what about me? Catherine Swedan had this reaction.
I've been disappointed. I was devastated when I saw the news that she was getting out, but they didn't include Paul, he was a Marine. He's nowhere near a spy, like they say.
The atmosphere is one of anticipation. People are wondering at what point will Brittney Griner land here at Kelly Field and what exactly is going to take place immediately following that. Now, we did reach out to your elected officials to see what they had to say about this morning's announcement, and take a listen.
It's the return home that has the eyes of the world on San Antonio. Brittney Griner heading to the Alamo City after being released from Russia.
Give
given the tension between the United States and Russia, it was actually done rather rapidly.
Griner has been in Russian custody since February after cannabis oil was found in her luggage. Griner was sentenced to 9 years at a Russian penal colony. The WNBA star was freed in a prisoner exchange with Victor Bout, a Russian arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death.
He is a notorious criminal, and so that was the price we had to pay to get, Ms. Griner back. Let's face it, the Russians got the better deal in the trade in terms of, 1 for 1. She was in possession of a small amount of illegal substances, and she was traded for a notorious arms dealer that, was targeting Americans for assassination.
St. Mary's law professor and Warrior Defense Project Director Jeffrey Adicott weighs in on the decision.
I'm not going to second guess the Biden administration. It's a tough situation to have an American citizen that's being held overseas in this context. All of us agree that this is the right thing to do, that we don't leave people behind.
We reached out to your elected officials about Griner's release. Democrats Lloyd Doggett, Joaquin Castro, and Henry Cuellar all expressing relief she was freed. Representative Doggett saying in part, finally, this Texan is coming home. Representative Castro adding he is relieved Griner will be coming home, a sentiment shared by Congressman Cuellar.
She got caught up with this very unfair legal system in Russia. And again, I am glad that she's coming back, but we still need a lot more work to make sure that we bring back everybody.